Hola, hola! My name is Julian Cruz Diaz, and welcome to Una Preguntita. As a Texas Rican, my life has been anything but traditional. I went from studying engineering to farming in Hawaii to building a career in nonprofits before diving into entrepreneurship. Every twist and turn taught me something new. But let's be real, life doesn't come with a manual. In Una Preguntita, we always begin con una pregunta, a question. So dime, have you ever felt like you're thriving in one area of your life while Googling how to be a functioning adult for the rest of it at 2 a.m.? Yeah, been there too. Every week, you and I are diving into the stuff nobody really teaches us. How to actually understand ourselves, build connections that matter, and handle those awkward conversations that keep us up at night. Whether you're figuring out workplace dynamics or trying to level up your emotional intelligence game, we're getting into it. I'm bringing you big questions, tools, and strategies for you to build the life and career you want. No filtered perfection, just honest conversations and practical ways to grow into your unapologetic self. Grab tu cafecito, get comfy, and let's figure this out together. Esto es Una Preguntita, where curiosity and understanding leads to action. Vamos! Okay, amigui, I'm coming at you hot this week. Our preguntita is, how do you transition from being an amazing individual contributor to becoming a human-centered leader? O sea, you go from crushing your own tasks and now you're helping others succeed and do their work? Don't get me wrong, the work still needs to get done, but instead of you being the doer, you have to still get the work done, but not by doing it yourself. It's a bit of a mind twist. The other day, I was taking a walk to clear my mind, and a thought really just hit me and stuck with me. The movement of time, or really us moving through time, is a weird concept. Like when we were little, time would take so long to travel through, right? But the older we get, the faster time escapes us. If we blink, somehow we're 3 years in the future. One day, your biggest worry is whether you can sneak in another episode of your favorite show before bedtime. And the next, you're wondering, why is the electric bill so high? I can now understand why Papi would yell at Angelo, my brother, and I. Apaga la luz, coño, que aquí tú no pagas. Essentially, turn off the lights. You're not paying electric bill here. This whole adulting journey is wild. And lately, I've been thinking about how we grow into these new roles, especially at work. One day, you're a new hire. You're getting used to your work culture, the commute. And the next, you have a team looking at you for guidance. One minute you're crushing your individual tasks, feeling confident and on top of the game. Then suddenly you're handed a promotion and you say, espérate, ¿qué? Like, thank you for recognizing my potential, but also, what? How do I do this? You're excited because it's a new challenge and you know you can do better than a previous manager you might have had. But, so how do I do this manager thing? Mira, the perfect analogy to describe this transition, which, by the way, we talk a little bit about in the episode called Struggling to Lead. You can't fake trust, but you can build it. Go back in the feed and click on that episode if you want to hear more. So, the perfect analogy to describe your new managerial transition is, imagine you worked in a factory setting. Your work at the very beginning was concentrated on one little corner of the factory. You were so good at what you did that now you got a promotion. And that promotion is like you moving off of the ground floor up 5 steps. The job on the ground floor, your old job, still needs to be completed. But now you're having to lead others to complete it, but from a completely different angle. Lo difícil es you having to learn how to communicate and get the work executed without you going down the steps and doing it yourself. That's the challenging part. Your role now is not only getting the work done like before, now it's helping others also grow. In case you weren't already a bit overwhelmed trying to learn how to do the work through others and from a new angle while helping them grow professionally, you also are being paid to do the reflective work necessary to make the ground floor work more efficiently. Since you're up those 5 steps, you're able to see a bigger view of the factory compared to when you were only in that tiny little corner. A little overwhelmed yet? Yeah, it makes sense why this first managerial promotion feels hard. Let's talk about something fundamental. Liderazgo es difícil. Leadership is hard, plain and simple. We try to integrate all of these best practices, but with endless meetings, constant pressure to take on more work, and the never-ending responsibilities, we're just trying to survive. Here's the first truth I'm going to share with you today. Leadership stems from you, not others. Lo voy a decir again. Leadership stems from you, not others. If you're currently listening to this podcast and saying, okay, Sulian, but I don't have a leadership title, I would reply to you and say leadership is not about how much responsibility you have or how many team members you're in charge of. It comes from the everyday conscious decisions you make and how you carry yourself. People follow who they admire. Simple as that. No matter how old we get, we still tend to copy the behaviors and attitudes of others. Humans tend to adjust themselves to fit into new environments. That's why if you move from New Mexico to New England, you might start seeing and wearing preppy LL Bean clothing because you'd think, oh, it's cute. Everybody's wearing it. Let me wear it, right? Or why you might somehow pick up an accent of a new location you're in. We adapt in order to fit our new environments. So let's go back. People follow who they admire. Are you holding yourself at a high level and supporting others around you? Are you feeding relationships with others? Cuando you consider leadership stems from you, not others, I want you to pause and ask yourself, pregúntate, what conscious decisions are you making that make others look up to you? What conscious decisions are you making that make others look up to you? Ja? You got your answer? Okay. Ahora, think about this next question. Pretend you're in this theoretical scenario. What type of leader would you want to work under? Someone who leads with really listening and empathy? Maybe they remember your birthday. Maybe they consider your personal growth and suggest new opportunities. Esto es what I call human-centered leadership. Most people believe that being a manager is only about the task-oriented side of leading. Like the logistics, the planning, the problem solving, and the keeping the goal-oriented momentum going, right? But when we think of our ideal manager, they are heavily human-centered. Centrado en ti como individual. O sea, centered around you as a human. The human-centered leadership is like a lens. You can think of it as a lens. It still requires meeting metrics, milestones, but leads with, number 1, putting aside the ego, which can be hard, and number 2, treating others as whole humans with empathy and consideration. Escúchame bien, we are not robots. Humans have feelings, and our emotions affect our productivity, even though we try really hard to leave them outside of work. Quote unquote, dealing with humans is part of the job. If someone recently had a family member pass away and their work performance was dropping, is it fair to just say work harder? No. With human-centered leading, you lead with questions and listen intently to understand the por qué, the why. This helps us correct paths or offer support where it's needed. Remembering to support the human behind the work, not just the end product, is crucial for overall organizational success. Okay, so the first truth was leadership stems from you, not others. The second truth I'm sharing with you today is, si pones al ser humano primero, todo lo demás seguirá. If you center the human as the root of the work, the rest will follow. Amigi, as an ambitious professional, leveling up your communication and relationship skills is crucial. I can't highlight that enough. The way you treat your team members sets the tone for how others work with you, as well as the work culture environment. And trust me, people talk. They remember how you made them feel more than what you said in the quarterly review. That line, it's how you say it, not what you say, comes into play here. Okay, so let's go back to that factory analogy, right? You're caught in a transitional period where you still need to get your old job done while learning to lead from a different angle. How do we do that? Bueno, a good manager knows what tasks need to be completed. A great leader utilizes the expertise of others to outline the path forward. I'm going to say that again. A good manager knows what tasks need to get done. A great leader utilizes others to build the path forward. Instead of dictating tasks, shift your approach and ask your team these questions. Oh, wait. Do you have your notes app or pen and paper ready? No? We'll go get them. You're about to take some notes. Here we go. Okay. Instead of dictating tasks, shift your approach and ask your team these questions. 1. How do we get to X goal? Number 2, how would you do XYZ? Number 3, do we need to involve others? If you need a little more support, I've created a running plan for managers doing one-on-ones. It walks you through the questions and your mental thought zoomies so that your team members can actually lead rather than you dictating tasks. Feel free to download it. I've left the link in the show notes below. Okay, so back to leading. By listening, reflecting, and asking direct questions, you empower your team members to contribute their insights and actually make them self-sufficient rather than relying on you. Why is this important? It fosters collaboration, it leads to ingenuity, and it actually creates a supportive work environment. Okay, do you still have your notes open? Good. Here are the next things you need to jot down. The strategy to help you in this transition is, número 1, escucha. Número 2, reflexiona. Y número 3, haz preguntas directas. In case you need the translation, that's number 1, listen. Number 2, reflect. Number 3, ask direct questions. Remember, Amigi, if you're not in a traditional managerial position right now, leadership does not come from a title. Leadership comes from within. People follow those they admire. How you act, the questions you ask, and how you support and treat your coworkers, both around you and above you, is what determines if you're a leader or not. Okay, let's recap what we learned today. Today was all about transitioning from individual contributor to human-centered leading. Truth number 1 was, el liderazgo viene de ti. Leadership stems from you, not others. People follow who they admire, so focus on making conscious decisions that align with your values. How do you treat others? What level of respect do you request from others? How do you support them? Truth number 2 was, if you center the human as the root of the work, the rest will follow. Human-centered leading is a lens. Treating others with empathy as you work toward getting the job done is the key. What type of work environment do you want to be in? Your behavior sets the tone for everyone else. The key formula was listen, reflect, ask direct questions. This empowers your team while helping you understand the bigger picture. Mira, transitioning from worker to manager may be challenging to adjust to, but it's also an incredible opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Embrace the journey, amigui, and see where it takes you.
Zulián, ¿qué aprendiste en esta semana?
Buenísima pregunta, abuela. Pues mira, esta semana I've been doing some people watching and I got to capture the sweetest little moment between a kiddo, probably between 3 and 4, and a stranger. So the man was trying to give this little boy like a thumb bump. O sea, like instead of doing a fist bump, he made his thumb put up as if it was like a thumbs up, and then would go thumb to thumb trying to do like a thumb bump with the little boy. Anyways, so the kiddo was working so hard to figure out what he needed to do with his hand to copy the older man in order to do that thumb bump, right? And he was so concentrated, and when he finally got it, oh my gosh, the cutest. His face just lit up, and he couldn't stop laughing and just emitting this beautiful joy. It was like he was in his own bubble that nothing could pop it. It didn't matter how loud or who was passing by. It was just him and that thumb bump in the bubble. And in that moment, I realized you and I, as adults, nosotros perdemos ese bubble. We lose that bubble and that finding joy in the smallest of things. O sea, piénsalo, think about it. When was the last time you felt like you were in a joy bubble that couldn't be popped? That pure joy, maybe not a thumb bump, but in something else. And if you were so lucky to experience it recently, how often do you experience it? Kids are just out here living their best lives, finding magic in these tiny moments while we're in our thought zoomies or thinking, shoot, I haven't put in the laundry yet. Lo que aprendí esta semana, what I learned this week, is that I want to be more present. I'm moving so fast, always thinking about what's next on my to-do list, and that I'm missing these little pockets of joy happening all around me. In case you also need the reminder, life isn't just the big moments, the graduations, the promotions, the weddings. It's all these tiny moments strung together. The first sip of café en la mañana, tastes so good. The breeze as you walk to the car, how the perfect song just comes up on your shuffle. If you and I are not paying attention, we miss them. That's my challenge for myself, and I invite you to join in. Let's try to be more like that little kid, completely in the moment and finding joy in the simple things. Piénsalo, life's made up of all of these little moments. We might as well enjoy them. That's the show, amigui. Si te gustó, if you liked it, make sure to share it, rate it, and write a review. ¿Qué aprendiste? What did you take away from today? Como siempre, I'm your amiga Zulian, and I'm sending you off today con un huge abrazo, amigui. Nos vemos en la próxima.